Hey, it's Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader. Welcome to the Black Belt Leadership Podcast, where each week I'm giving you tips, tools, insights, and resources to help you become a better version of who you are and what you do as you discover, develop, and deploy your own Black Belt leader within. Now, this week, I want to talk about a little this. And it's a little this that you need to pay attention to as I ask the question, are you really paying attention to this? Now, what's the premise for the question, you may ask? Well, let me tell you. I was invited last week to be an instructor for an advanced sales symposium that was held in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Financial professionals from across the country gathered together in a room to learn advanced sales strategies and tactics. Again, I was one of the instructors leading that symposium. Now, the event was held at an iconic property in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. Now, if you've never been there, it is an incredible venue. It is a destination location, and it comes complete with its own guitar-shaped hotel tower. And as you travel through this massive complex, the hotel, the casino, the restaurants, all throughout there, what did you see? Vintage clothing from rock and roll greats, some of their musical instruments, and memorabilia of these rock and roll legends were on display everywhere you turned around. And if you are a rock and roll fan, you might have thought you died and went to rock and roll heaven. It was that cool a venue. Now, the theme not only carried out through the casino and into the hallways, but it carried out into the hotel rooms itself. As you moved up and down the hallways into the rooms, you saw trivia, you saw posters, even guitar-shaped door handles and guitar-shaped stands that would hold the rope stanchions that would separate and divide different areas of the complex. Everywhere you went, music followed you. Again, rock and roll legends and the music being piped throughout the entire facility. It was amazing. I mean, they had incredible pools, they had incredible restaurants. It was a not so subtle immersion into the world of classic rock and roll. Now, you may be saying at this point, John, I'm ready to go. Well, don't go to the end of the podcast, but it's definitely a hotel you want to check out. Now, one of the things that caught me in terms of the uniqueness of how these people put together this immersive event was the guest rooms themselves. Even the rooms continued the theme of the hotel venue. I laid down in the pillowcase, and the first morning I woke up, I looked over, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw something that looked like dried blood. Now, get that, dried blood on the pillowcase. And I thought, what in the world's going on? And I sat up quickly thinking I'd had a nosebleed or I'd cut myself. And what I saw was a guitar shaped little emblem that was embroidered into the end of the pillow. To me, that was really cool. Now, one of the things I thought was probably the most innovative was the safety latch that you would put over the door to lock yourself in at night. When you would move that back and set it up against the wall, they used a guitar pick to protect that door safety catch from damaging the plaster wall and keeping it safe. Now, to me, again, it was a little thing, but I thought it was quite similar. You know, the only thing they didn't have, I thought maybe they should have had, was a guitar-shaped handle on the toilet. That, to me, would have really taken it to the next level, but then again, maybe that's taking the rock and roll theme a little bit too far. But if you've ever had an opportunity to visit the House of the Mouse, aka Disney World, or you've ever visited Six Flags or Silver Dollar City or Dollywood or SeaWorld, it is a very similar experience. It is an immersive experience where you don't just show up and enjoy yourselves. The whole experience is around a particular theme. Now, at every one of these venues, the people that design this are connoisseurs of deliberate attraction. And what do? They craft an immersive experience that literally sucks you into their illusion. It captures your emotions and it takes you away. You know, at every one of those venues, from Hard Rock to SeaWorld to Six Flags to Disney World to Dollywood to Silver Dollar City, any great amusement park, here's what I can tell you. It's the little things that make the experience because little things matter. Now, one of the speakers that I had the opportunity to share the stage with is a good friend of mine, Mark Williams. And when Mark was there, his message was on branding. Now, branding is how you're perceived to the world and how other people view you. Now, Mark was talking about, again, the little things that matter, including how you dress. Mark dressed as he always is in a sport coat, a button up shirt, slacks, and dress shoes. Mark always dresses professionally everywhere he goes. Now, I've known Mark for more than a decade, and I know that he and I have crossed paths many, many times at airports and at different venues over the years. And I can tell you this, I've never seen Mark at an event or traveling to or from an event where he is not dressed for success. Now, I've seen other individuals that they do their thing on stage and they're dressed to the nines with their suit or their dress or their pantsuit, and they look really sharp. And as soon as they get off the stage and get ready to leave, they go into the bathroom and they change into sweats or they put on some blue jeans and a t-shirt. For them, I guess that's okay. But I'm one of those guys that, like Mark, everywhere I go, I am representing my brand. Now, it's a little thing, but little things matter, and it's something I pay attention to. Mark knows, I know, and other people like us know that when we're out there and we're interacting with a prospective audience, we've only got one chance to make a good first impression. Now, if I'm sitting next to someone in an airport or in an airplane and they ask me what I do, and I tell them I'm a professional speaker, coach, and trainer, and I'm dressed in gym shorts and I'm dressed in a t-shirt and I've got on a pair of old beat up tennis shoes, do I really look the part of a professional speaker, coach, and trainer? Again, it is a little thing, but little things matter. Here's what I can tell you. I know it's worked for Mark because I've seen Mark build an incredibly successful brand, and he's helped other organizations build some large, successful brands by following what Mark teaches. Now, most of us recently saw what happened when we don't pay attention to the little things and the little things that matter. Because when little things are overlooked or disregarded or ignored, problems can and do happen. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the recent Boeing incident. Actually, a slew of Boeing incidents, but one in particular was Boeing's failure to reinstall a series of little small door plugs during a routine maintenance session that resulted in this door blowing out as the airplane was at 10,000 feet in the air. Can you imagine being on that plane 10,000 feet above the ground and suddenly the door panel is ripped from its hinges and separates from the fuselage? And you're sitting there holding on to your seat, or like the guy that's sitting by the door had his shoes and socks literally sucked off his feet. See what happens when little things are overlooked, disregarded, and ignored. Problems can and do occur. That's right. It's a little thing. The door plugs were a little thing, but little things matter, and often they matter a lot. Now, as a speaker, coach, and trainer, I travel quite extensively. In fact, at the time of this recording, I'm in the middle of a 12-week, 12-city book tour promoting my new book, Black Belt Secrets of Success. Now, as I travel, I'm constantly looking for the little things that people do and that organizations do that cause them to stand out, to get noticed, and to create a memorable experience for others. And on the way home from this sales symposium in Fort Lauderdale last week, I experienced one of those moments. Let me tell you about it. As I was flying back from Fort Lauderdale to Little Rock, I had to go through Charlotte. On the way to Charlotte from Fort Lauderdale, we ran into a weather pattern of severe thunderstorms. The thunderstorms were so bad, they literally shut the airport down and we were unable to fly into Charlotte airspace. So what happened? Here we are on a plane circling at 30,000 feet, waiting for the storm to clear and getting an opportunity for clearance so we can get to the ground. By the time we got through that extended weather delay and we got to the ground at Charlotte, I and about 100 other people on the same flight had 11 minutes to get from A terminal to E terminal at Charlotte. Now, if you've ever been to the Charlotte airport, going from A to E at a dead run is about 12 to 14 minutes. Walking, it's about 22 minutes. We had 11 minutes from the time the plane touched down and the doors opened at the front of the plane to get out of the plane and to get to our connecting flights. Needless to say, that didn't happen. So what happens? The airline automatically rebooked every one of us for a flight. I got rebooked for a late afternoon departure on Saturday. I'm traveling home on a Friday, and I now find out I'm going to have to spend the night in Charlotte and wait until almost 7 p.m. on Saturday evening to have an opportunity to go home. Now, I had plans to go meet my son that we had planned for weeks to get together, and had gotten a call while I was there that dad had had to take my mom to the hospital, that she wasn't feeling well. I was trying to get back home so I could get to Russellville, Arkansas to check on my mom, check on my dad, and meet my son for some things we had planned to do at my mom and dad's house. So what did I do? I went to the ticket desk to see what my options were. Well, the attendant that was there definitely was not having a good day. She was rude, she was curt, and she did not go at all out of her way to do anything to provide exceptional customer service. It was very clear to me she did not want to be bothered, and she didn't give a rat's hind end about my situation in the moment. So what did I do? I went to find somebody else to see if I could get a better experience. I found a different customer service desk, and there was an amazing lady there who said, "Sir, how can I help you?" I told her what happened. I showed her on my phone what, I was looking at, explained my situation. She said, "Let me see if I can find you something better." She was very courteous, and she began to work and click and look. And she said, "How would you feel about going to Dallas tonight? You're going to get there kind of late, but I can get you out first thing in the morning on Saturday, and I can have you in Little Rock by 10 o'clock. That from there, I could get to Russellville, Arkansas by 11:30, still plenty of time to get there and do what I need to be done." She provided exceptional service and got me on a plane late at night from Charlotte to fly into Dallas. Well, when I got to Dallas, I found a hotel, took the shuttle. About 2 a.m., I got in the bed, up a little before 6 o'clock, jumped on a Uber, went back to the airport, and as I'm walking through the line to go through TSA pre-check, my phone goes off. I paused to look down, and the unthinkable happened. Another line of thunderstorms was coming through the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and lo and behold, it shut the entire airport down. My flight wasn't just postponed, my flight was canceled. Now, again, I was automatically rebooked, and yeah, you guessed it, late night, Saturday night, was going to be flying out around 8:30, 9 p.m., having to go back to Little Rock, Arkansas. Now, I had an option. I had either a 12 or 14-hour stay in the airport, or maybe customer service could work their magic again. So I went to the customer service desk, and lo and behold, what did I find? Another individual behind the desk. Now, mind you, I was the only person in line. It's early in the morning on a Saturday. This woman did not want to be bothered. She did not want to help me, and she did her very best to get rid of me as quickly as she can. Her response is, "Sir, there's nothing I can do for you. If you want to go book with another airline, you're going to have to go to another terminal in the airport." And at that point, she turned and went back to her computer. I'm still standing there looking for an answer, and she made it obvious I did not matter to her. Now, in the past, when I would have something like that happen, the customer service people would not only check to see what flights they had as an accommodation, they would actually log into the airport system, and they would check to see if there was another airline that could get me out quicker, and they would do something reciprocally with that airport to get me out in a timely manner. But this lady was more concerned about whatever it was she was doing on her computer than it was helping me. And what happened? She left me, again, the only passenger in line, wondering why her employer hired her in the first place. She was there to provide customer service, and she was not providing customer service at all. I began to think at that point about the quality of training, or probably better yet, the lack of quality training she had received by her employer. This was a customer service issue. This was a chance to do something to serve the customers that actually write your paycheck. Now, maybe she was just one of those people that just simply doesn't care. She's going through the motions, showing up, collecting her check, and every day getting a little bit closer to the day she gets to retire. But as I sat there fuming, wondering why in the world I couldn't at least get an effort from her to try to help, I wondered how many people just like me she had treated with the same disdain and the same lack of professionalism, compassion, and courtesy that is due us as a customer. After all, the customer is supposed to be number one in any business. And I wondered if she realized it was people like me and the other people that she had treated the exact same way. It's those people that buy the tickets, that provide the money to the airline, that actually pay her salary and her benefits. If it were not for the customer that they serve, she would not have a job. So I decided one more time to give her one more opportunity to provide customer service. I asked her, I said, ma'am, would it be possible for me to get a flight credit on the unused portion of this trip if I do what you told me to do and I go to the other side of the airport and I book travel with another airline out of my own pocket? Again, she said, I can't help you. No, thank you for being a loyal customer. No apology for my inconvenience. No kindness, no courtesy, no smile, no nothing. No accommodation whatsoever. She simply handed me a card with an 800 number and said, if you've still got problems, call this number. And then she immediately goes back to her computer and begins to ignore me. I'm left standing there dumbfounded that the customer service desk doesn't want to do anything more than the bare minimum to provide customer service. Yeah, it's a little thing, and a lot of people have been inconvenienced, and maybe she just had a bad day or had a bad night. But for whatever reason, in that moment, to me, it was a big thing. My mom was in the hospital. I needed to get home so I could drive up and check on my mom, 85 years of age. My dad, 88, was in a panic because mom was in the hospital. My oldest son was driving in so we could do some things for my mom and dad, and she didn't care. So what did I do? I spent more money to book a flight on another airline, and that required me to Uber from DFW to Love Field. When I got there, I was welcomed at the terminal. People outside that were checking bags didn't have to, but as I'm walking out, they said, welcome to Love Field. It's a great Saturday morning. That made my day. When I got up to TSA, they promptly and courteously ushered me through. I waited only a short amount of time. Rather than having to wait 12 to 14 hours, I got on a plane and I got back to Arkansas to do what I needed to do. So let me pose a question, and you probably already asking the same question. Who do you think is going to be my first choice for airline travel the next time I'm booking travel to go somewhere? You betcha. It's the people that went out of their way to make sure they're paying attention to the little things. So let me make this personal. In the classic Song of Solomon that we read about, it is a classic poetic tale. The king cautions his lover to beware of the little foxes that spoil the vines. Now, if you don't understand that, in ancient times, vineyards were on constant alert for predators, especially foxes, because foxes love grapes. And the foxes would come into the vineyard and they would stand up on their hind legs and they would pick grapes from the clusters of grapes. But the little foxes were even more dangerous. They were too small, even standing on their hind legs, to reach the grapes as they drooped down from the vines. So the little foxes, what they would do is they would chew at the base of the vine until they severed it from the root. And then they would drag the entire vine down to the ground so they could get access to the grapes, and they would eat their fill, leaving the rest to rot But in the process, what had they done? They destroyed that vine so it would never grow grapes again. Now, the larger foxes would come and eat some of the grapes, but the other grapes would be there available to pick. They were a nuisance, but the little foxes were devastating to a vineyard because they would utterly leave it without the ability to reproduce in the future. So, as we wrap up, let me pose a few questions based upon what I've shared and asking you to think about, are you paying attention to this, the little things that matter? What are the little things that you are overlooking, disregarding, or ignoring that are diminishing the brand called you? As other people see you in the marketplace, they see you in your home, they see you at work, they see you at school, wherever they see you, what are the little things you're overlooking, disregarding, or ignoring that are diminishing people's opinion of you? Are you paying attention to the little things that can make or break a relationship? What are you not doing that you should be doing to make sure the little things that matter are getting the attention that they need? Remember this, little things matter. And the little things that matter to those around you need to matter to you as well. I'm Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.